Всем здравствуйте. Вас приветствует Александр Шумский, руководитель проекта ProBookNet.
My name is Alexander Shumsky, the head of ProBookNet project, and we are here at the session of Moscow International Urban Forum. The topic is truly interesting today. We are talking about the traffic safety, and the topic of our session is Vision Zero, how safety can become the priority of city transport policy. Why is it important? Because even if you are a person who has a driver, your kids still go to school, you are a driver, or you are just walking around the streets, you are anyway participant of the traffic jam. It's an important topic because according to WHO, more than 1.3 million people die every year in traffic accidents. Of course, life of people is the most important thing, and unfortunately, people die in traffic accidents. Today, we will hear different opinions. Perhaps the participants will criticize the cities, and we will talk how to make our cities safe. Our topic is Vision Zero. How can we get Vision Zero? How can we reach the mortality rate of zero in the cities? And today we are going to talk with Mikhail Kozlik from Moscow, Mats Okebelin, Director of Vision Zero Academy. He will join us in Zoom. Sky Duncan, Director, Global Initiative on City Design. Anna Kuzmina, the Head of Department for Safety at Yandex Yeda and Yandex Lavka. Because of the latest events related to the pandemics, it is a highly interesting topic for you. Yulia Popova, Chief Producer Samokat, and Jill Warren, the General Director of European Federation of Bike Riders. So without any further ado, I would like to give the mic to Mikhail Kozlik. Mikhail, I hand over to you, and please share Moscow experience with us. Thank you very much. Could you please come closer to the mic? Today we have a unique opportunity to talk about an interesting and exciting topic, safety and traffic safety particularly. Mikhail, we have some problems with the sound, excuse me. So we analyze safety and we ask people what factors make them worry. So everyone says that they all worry about safety. It's one of the top priorities which the government of Moscow and the Center of Traffic Road Organization, Department of Transportation focus on.
Помогите нам,
Переключать, да, переключите, пожалуйста.
с кликером, помогите нам, пожалуйста.
Спасибо. Как сказал ранее,
So safety indicators are truly important for people, and this indicator also becomes the target set by the president of Russia. Each entity of Russia has several priorities, and one of the top priorities is social risk, the number of people who die in traffic accidents. So the experience of Moscow demonstrates that in this sphere you can reach significant results and can dramatically improve the situation. So here on the slide you can see that starting from 2010 until 2021, the indicator of the risk decreased significantly, and that was the result of well-coordinated work of the government of Moscow. So the social risk indicator is about 3 now. And here we are talking about lives of people who are saved and people who can safely drive around the streets and roads of the city. Right, could you please help me to switch on the next slide? Thank you. So as I told you before, the social risk indicator is 3. If you compare it with other cities of Russia, you can see that Moscow is a leader in this regard, as far as this indicator is concerned. Next to Moscow, there are such cities as St. Petersburg, then Sebastopol, If you compare Moscow with other cities, you can see that Moscow is one of the leaders in terms of this indicator. The streets and roads of Moscow become better and safer. So here you can see the cities which are near Moscow. In terms of this indicator, Chicago, New York, of course we have something to strive for. We are striving for vision zero, zero mortality rate on the streets. And our further development will focus on the following. We will try to make sure that this indicator goes down and Moscow becomes one of the top cities in terms of these indicators and has as good results as other cities like Berlin, London, Madrid, and other cities where the indicator is truly low. So as I told you before, it's all about well-coordinated work of the Center of Traffic Organization, government of Moscow, colleagues from the Authority for Road Traffic Safety. So here you can see all the activities which were implemented over the last 10 years, and they helped us achieve good results in terms of safety on the streets, intellectual transportation system, smart systems. 100% of streets and roads are covered by smart transportation systems, including photo and video fixation, cameras, surveillance, and all the rest. Thanks to this system, we are able to understand how traffic flows are organized, and that is one of the tasks which was sent by the mayor of Moscow, and we will continue to implement such activities. There are complexes of photo and video fixation thanks to the participation of the government of Moscow and the use of photo and video fixation. We have statistics proving that if there is a place with high congestion rate and high risk of accidents, if you install such a camera there, then the accident rate decreases by 40%. It's a big indicator, and it allows you to increase the safety on the road significantly. So a camera is a tool which helps you to fast and efficiently improve safety or make a part of the road as safe as possible. The work with heavy transportation is also important, taking into account that we introduce new roads and new roads for heavy traffic. The number of accidents with heavy trucks decreased by 20 to 25% thanks to the activities organized in the city. In addition to that, other activities were implemented, such as highway patrol, for example. About 80% of the city is the area where the traffic organization changed. We actively work with the inhabitants of the city. We organize different pools, public discussions. We try to use various channels of communication. So 80% of roads are now new in the city. I mean, they focus on the improvement of traffic. This is the basic principle which is used in large European cities, and we follow them in terms of road safety. So such activities allow us to achieve the targets I told you about. Right, so on this slide, I would like to focus on the following. I told you about our achievements and results, and Moscow is truly one of the leaders of the world. Safety is quite high in the city, but there are several challenges that we are facing today. So together with our colleagues from the State Authority of Road Traffic Safety, we work on the following. Taxi motor companies and various aggregators. So the number of accidents with taxis grows. It is plus 25%. And we have to focus on that. We have to organize various activities to decrease the amount of road accidents with taxis. And the second area of focus is personal mobility, means like scooters, kick scooters, and bikes. You know that in the times of pandemics, people started to actively use personal means of transportation, and that's why we have to focus on that. And the last factor is as follows. That is the speed. We know that about 50% of fatal traffic accidents happen because of overspeeding. Well, it's a disputable question, but it's a fact. And we are going to talk about various analytics and research of different companies. There are basic factors which speak to us that the higher the speed is, so the more the risk of a road accident is. Here you can see some facts from the surveys of the colleagues. If you drive faster, you can brake your car slower. The faster the car drives, the lower the reaction of a driver is, and the higher the speed is, the worse you can see what is happening around. And all these factors mean that if you do not work with the overspeeding, you will not be able to reach the zero vision and zero mortality rate. That is one of the challenges which the Moscow government and State Authority for Road Traffic Safety face. We focus on the speed limit. That is one of our top priorities. We also started the so-called marathon of ideas, and it is related with the ideas which we want to collect from people. We see that people also worry about such problem as overspeeding, and people send us their proposals. Till the end of summer, we will collect the proposals from people about the parts of the roads where it's necessary to change the speed limit, either to decrease the speed limit or to increase it. And let me tell you shortly about the following topic. We are, of course, focused on the future. And there are some elements in the city which will allow us to reach zero mortality rate on the streets, and that is the development of smart transportation systems, digitalization, unmanned means of transportation, introduction of smart traffic lights. When traffic lights work on the basis of artificial intelligence, they understand what is happening on the streets, and based on that, they can regulate the traffic. I think we could speak about it for a long time. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask them, and I will be happy to answer. There is a report related to the road safety, which was prepared, and you can use the QR code to download the road safety report and read it in more details to find out more information about the facts which have influence on the safety, what activities are introduced by the government of Moscow. In addition to that, we organize outreach campaigns. Last year, we organized a big competition. We tried to engage people to this topic. We organized, for example, a competition on the best video trainings and raising awareness. Videos which are all about road safety. People made videos, sent the videos to us, and on the basis of that, we distributed the prizes to the best participants. Again, you can find out more information about it. You can watch the video clips if you download the report I told you about. These video clips were made by people from Russia, from different regions of Russia. They were happy to share their proposals with us, how to tell people that safety is important. That it is important to drive safely not only in the car but also on the bike. And I would like to show you a short teaser. It's only 1 minute long. Please switch it on. So, is everyone here? Mr. Crossing, Mr. Helmet, safety belt, colleagues? My name is Mr. Safety Belt. I just want you to follow safety rules. What? Get out of my car. Get out, get out. Get out of my car. Go away. Seat belt saves from heavy injuries in 75 cases out of 100. Listen here, get out. Please, no assault. See the full version and other videos through the link. Thank you. Thank you, Mikhail. According to the information by WHO, overspeeding is the biggest reason of traffic accidents. I hope that we have now internet connection with our participants from abroad. Mats Oke Berlin, can you hear us? Mr. Berlin?
Концепция Vision Zero действует в Швеции.
So the concept Vision Zero started to work in Sweden in 1976. You're one of the leaders, and other countries of the world follow you and are led by you. So what methods of safety organization are the main, and what methods can be implemented in Russia?
Okay, so let me share my screen then. Can you see my screen?
Нет, мы пока не видим. Выведите, пожалуйста, презентацию на экран.
Well, we cannot see your presentation. Maybe you could try to share your screen once again?
Да, прошу вас, мы слышим.
But we can hear you.
Okay, I try again then.
Да, мы видим вашу презентацию.
All right, we can see your presentation now.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Alexander, for your introduction here. So, as you said, Sweden started with this Vision Zero. Now it's some kind of echo. If the technician can take away. Maybe I have to switch off the interpretation, I'm not sure.
Сейчас у нас небольшие маленькие проблемы с...
Sorry, we are having some technical issues. Just a second.
Господин Белин. Да, прошу вас.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So Sweden adopted this Vision Zero in 1997, and basically it's an ethical imperative that we can't accept that people get killed or serious injury in road traffic. But yes, let me there are some echo all the time. Maybe the interpreter needs to switch off their okay, so but Vision Zero is not just a slogan, it's a kind of new strategy, and it's based on science. And we know that people will make mistakes, and we know that people have a certain tolerance against kinetic energy. And we also know that we need a system perspective when we work with road safety. And we have to deliver a safe system for the users. And Vision Zero is also based on a quite new way to think about responsibility if we compare it with a more traditional approach. Because it's a kind of chain of responsibility which starts and ends with all us as professional organizations which have a stake in the function and design and the use of the road transport system. So we have to go beyond these kind of things like 90% of all crashes is due to the human factors, 90% is due to individual road users. So we have to creating a more system perspective on road safety. And next year, Sweden will celebrate a 25th anniversary with Vision Zero. And we have quite a lot of experience now how to work with Vision Zero. And I would say that they all start with the urban area. So if we go a little bit more in depth, this is the scientific kind of base for Vision Zero. Because what is Vision Zero? Vision Zero is mainly about controlling for harmful energy. And we know from these kind of studies that if you as a pedestrian or unprotected road user get hit by a car in 50 kilometers, the risk that you get killed is more than 80%. But if you get hit by a car in 30 kilometers, the risk is less than 10. But we as individuals, we don't see this, you know. We don't have a perception of this kinetic energy. When we're driving out there, we can drive in 30, 40, 50 or 60 because we don't understand and have any perception of kinetic energy. So when we see an environment like this, at least we have a sidewalk, we have this zebra crossing, and so on. And in most countries, in this kind of environment, we are allowed at least above 50 kilometers per hour. And to design a system like this, we put the ultimately responsibility on us as individuals. So it's up to the pedestrian and the drivers to negotiate about safety. And if something goes wrong, it will end up in a catastrophe. And we don't really have a perception that this is a problematic situation. But if we could understand the risk with kinetic energy in the way that we understand risk with spiders or snakes or with heights, we would have a total different perception of this situation, especially if we saw this as a height. We probably will see it like this. And you can imagine the demand for countermeasures to make sure that we are safe in this situation. But this is the ordinary situation, I would say. And this kind of knowledge is very important, that the traffic engineers and others, that they have this kind of knowledge. And when we started the implementation of Vision Zero in Sweden in late 90s, we started to talk with the designers of these urban areas. And now we can see the results. You will see lots of speed bumps, special speed limits, 30 kilometers, separation of cyclists from protected road users. You will see lots of traffic calming solutions, special areas where you give priority to unprotected road users, and you will see lots of roundabouts, because roundabouts is very good because they lower the speed and the kinetic energy. So this is some example of what we have done in large scale, I would say, in many municipalities around Sweden. So just to wrap up things and show some example on interventions that is promoted in a kind of Vision Zero framework. First of all, urban areas. We have done lots of things that I mentioned, but we also have done lots of things in the rural areas that also is based on the idea of controlling for kinetic energy. This middle barrier program, for example. And we're also working a lot with traffic safety cameras to controlling speed. But we also try to take advantages of this new technology in a way that we haven't done historically, with intelligent speed adaptation systems, for example, or alcolocks device that prevent you from drink and driving, and so on. So there are lots of promising technology that we need to see more in place in the future. But in the center of all these different intervention strategies, you will find the speed limits and the speed. And we try now to setting the speed according to kinetic energy, I would say. And here you see different types of accident types. And you know that I talked a lot about 30 kilometers, but here we say 40 kilometers. The reason why we have that in risk with crashes with unprotected road use is that this is a very modern car with auto brake systems. So in reality, we talk of crashes below 30 kilometers. So you also need to interrelate the speed limits with the way that you design your infrastructure, but also your vehicle safety.
Господин
So
Бейлин,
that's the main
можно еще
thing.
буквально 30 секунд, если вы слышите меня. Нам нужно...
You have 30 seconds, see if you can hear me.
Да, у нас буквально еще 30 секунд.
Yes, so if you could wrap up in 20, 30 seconds. Thank you.
No, I'm done now, so I'm in the end of my presentation now.
Да, великолепно.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you. I hope the pandemic will be a thing of the past soon, and then you will be able to attend our next forum, and you will be able to speak to us face to face. Thank you for your interesting experience. Now we are moving to a different part of the world. I would like to ask Sky Duncan, head of the Global Designing Cities Initiative. I can see you, Ms. Duncan. Today we heard about several methods to reduce fatalities under Vision Zero. Reducing speed is the key factor to reduce road accidents and reduce fatalities, injuries, but street design and urban design is probably a more contributing factor to road safety. What kind of experience you can rely on and you can share with us, because I think the first thing is on how we see this street, and that's the first step, and then after the vision of the street, we can start using it for all road users. Can you hear us?
Yes, absolutely, I can. Can you hear me?
Отлично.
Great, yes. Great. Well, thank you for having me. I'm going to share my screen and build off some of the wonderful lessons that we've just from Matt's. Can you maybe just let me know when you can see my screen okay?
Да, пока презентация вводится, еще раз.
Yes. I just want to remind you that you have 7.5 minutes. That's the speaking time. So try. We can see your presentation, but try to stick to the speaking time. Thank you.
Great. So, I'm from a group called the Global Designing Cities Initiative, and as we've alluded to, we do a lot of work around streets, and this is our entry point for road safety. As our largest network of continuous public space in cities, we see it as one of the largest kind of untapped assets that we have to address this road safety crisis that we heard about, with over 1.35 million people dying. And devastatingly, the most scary number is that it's now the #1 killer of our young people in our cities, these completely preventable deaths. And so a lot of our work has begun through the Bloomberg Initiative for Global Road Safety, where we work alongside colleagues in enforcement and data and media, and we work on the infrastructure side of this. And that's, you know, part of the reason is when we look at a street like this and we ask how fast does the street invite us to drive, right? 50, 60, 80, 100, 120 kilometers an hour. And, you know, what's important is if we start to add speed limits and reduce the speed policies, improving our enforcement is all really important, but until we actually start changing the built environment around us, then it becomes very difficult to address the challenges that we're being faced. So we see that bad design can enforce unsafe behavior, just as good design can help self-enforce safe behaviors, essentially. And that's the premise behind our core publication that feeds a lot of our work, the Global Street Design Guide, produced with experts and inputs from around the globe, and more recently expanded with supplements, Designing Streets for Kids. As the #1 group who are dying on our streets, it's important that we think about our street designs through their lens. And coming later this year, we will also be releasing the Designing Safe Speeds, which really gets into this topic in a lot more detail, alongside some of the other kind of handbooks that will be helpful to implement these projects. And the premise behind all of this is to take the outdated hierarchical pyramid where the car has been king, we've forgotten about human beings, and to turn that on its head so that our people, our most vulnerable users on our streets, and our sustainable mobility options are our top priority. And a big part of this is asking what's possible of the space of our street, understanding that the bulk of our city streets are already built. And so if we don't look at them through a new lens, it will be very difficult to really achieve and address the challenges. So what is possible to ask how our streets can support more functions, biodiversity, cleaner air, water management, but of course support the safe movement of more people as well. And how do we look at accessibility as the fundamental core goals, but adding in layers of health and comfort, inspiration and education. So we're thrilled we've had now over 100 cities around and organizations around the world endorse this approach for safer speeds and safer streets. Maybe we'll get Moscow in the loop as well, including translations to increase access of this material to folks around the world. But of course, having paper is important, but shifting to practice is fundamental. So our team works on road safety and street transformation projects in around 30 cities around the world, from the biggest picture of thinking about policy and design guidance, whether it's updating or creating new street design manuals like in Bogota or Sao Paulo, and also a lot of capacity building. If we're asking our engineers and planners to design for safer speeds and safer streets, we have to provide the tools for them, but also our colleagues in and our journalists and media colleagues so that we can use them to help us spread the word. And ultimately, we help cities get projects on the ground. Sometimes that's for a matter of days to take speeding buses and unsafe spaces like this to show what's possible in a community and measure some of the metrics around improved safety and speeds for crossing the street, but also measuring the actual speeds and the vehicle throughputs as well. To intersections where speeding buses, again, like this one in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, could be transformed, working with local artists to rethink the space, and again, measuring the turning speeds and the perception of whether people feel safer on the site, and using this to help have a conversation about making these types of projects permanent. Looking at larger corridors where we can take strategies of speed reduction and design together to really see results almost overnight, you know, where we're seeing, well, this was not overnight, 6 months, but reduction in crashes overall, and particularly with pedestrians. And finally, you know, being able to take the road safety and speed conversation and bring it alongside other conversations about livability, taking simple strategies like shorter crossings, tighter turning radii, and reclaim space for a fairer distribution so that we can achieve safer speeds of all vehicles, but also look at how these streets can start to entice more walking or people spending more time in the space itself. So working alongside our colleagues, it's been the last 5 or 6 years, it's been really amazing to see a lot of these strategies really kind of result at the end of the day in lives saved. And we know, of course, from hearing of Matt's lessons and also more recently from cities like Helsinki and Oslo, who have really been able to get close and achieve this kind of Vision Zero. And we were thrilled at the Third Ministerial for Global Road Safety to see this conversation continue and get strengthened, and this commitment of 50% reduction by 2030 really be put at the forefront. So we've come a long way, but we know we've got a long way to go, and we need your bold vision and your technical support and advocacy and local action to get us there. And we that together we can provide the tools to reimagine and redesign streets that
Госпожа
are
Данкин,
safer and more
буквально еще
sustainable.
минуту еще буквально.
Thank you.
Уже даже закончилось. Спасибо вам большое.
Thank you for your punctuality. Very cool examples we've seen today. If you hear me, I like your point that we need to look at the streets through the eyes of children, and that a pedestrian, a human, is the king. These are good points, good takeaways. Jill Warren, head of the European Cyclists Association. It is the key mode of transportation in the pandemic now, and people say that there are more bicycles in Moscow than cars, but people just don't use it as often or not as visible because they take up less space. So what's the current state of affairs in cycling, in the area of cycling in Europe? What safety measures are being put in place? What can we borrow in Russia from your experience? Thank you.
Please.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would say cycling is absolutely booming in Europe as it is elsewhere. And I'm going to share my screen now and talk about some examples. So, can you see my screen? Okay, good.
Нет, пока не видим.
Right.
Well, we cannot see your presentation. We can see it now. All right.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. So the European Cyclists Federation is a member, we have about 70 members in 42 countries, including Russia, across Europe, and we promote cycling as a sustainable and healthy means of transport and leisure. What is the biggest barrier for people to do everyday cycling for the trips that they need to make? It's perceived lack of safety. So if we can fix that, then, you know, that's one of the most impactful things that we can do to get more cyclists, choosing this mode of transport. One question that we can ask ourselves, and this ties neatly also into some of what we saw in Sky's presentation, how safe do people feel doing it? I think a very good question is, would you allow a 10 or a 12-year-old child to cycle by themselves? And if the answer to that is yes, then you've got a safe environment for cycling. And if the answer is no, then you need to look at why that's the case. So what are the characteristics of high-quality cycling infrastructure? Generally in Europe, we say they have these 5 attributes. So safe, they're coherent, they're direct, so they don't send you on very big detours to the cycle paths. They're attractive, people want to use them, and they're comfortable. That means they are stress-free, or as stress-free as they can be when people are cycling on them. So the pandemic was a very interesting time for cycling, and it's well known that in this period, it really helped to accelerate the cause for cycling, as tragic as it's been in other ways. Citizens took advantage of the empty streets in lockdown to cycle more, or cycle for the first time, or to start cycling again. And cities recognized that they would go from lockdown to more traffic gridlock than ever if everybody turned to private cars to maintain physical distancing in their daily mobility. And so cycling was really seen as a good solution for this. So cities very quickly introduced pop-up cycle lanes, car-free streets, cycling streets, and other measures to encourage and enable more cycling. ECF has been tracking these developments over the past year and a bit. So to date, across Europe, nearly 2,600 kilometers of these kind of cycling enabling measures have been announced, and well over 1,500 of them have actually been implemented. And we also tracked the amount of money that cities were spending on these measures. And so far, this totals over 1.7 billion euros. And this figure captures not only the money allocated to providing the temporary cycling infrastructure, but also financial measures such as bicycle purchase or repair premiums. And we've also been tracking on an ongoing basis how much of this infrastructure is now becoming permanent. And we've really been using that data to lobby for those kinds of actions. But what happens when you provide safer cycling infrastructure? Well, people use it. And a very interesting study by the Climate Research Institute, MCC, showed that this pop-up cycling infrastructure boosted levels in European cities between 11 and 48% in the first months of the pandemic. So that is the best evidence we had that people will actually use this infrastructure if it is provided for them and people feel safe using it. I think this also ties in neatly with what Mats was saying and some of what Sky was saying as well. Reduced speed limits are very important for more safety, not only perceived safety, but actual safety. And those figures really speak for themselves in terms of what kinds of casualties you have in crashes at various speeds. What else can be done to make cycling safer? I think another thing we look at, certainly at ECF, is lobbying for better safety regulations for cars, trucks, and drivers. So these are things like intelligent speed assistance, the autonomous emergency braking, blind spot detection of lorries in particular. Lots of cyclists, get killed, frankly, by lorries turning right. And better vehicle front end design so that these crashes aren't as dangerous and fatal for those who get involved in them. And I think when we improve safety for cyclists and we have a lot more cycling happening and this modal shift from motorized transport to cycling, then we get a lot more than just fewer road deaths and serious injuries. We get all of these other positive impacts that we all want to see more of, frankly. The cleaner air, the healthier and happier citizens, more livable cities and towns. We also get better rural connectivity when we provide the right infrastructure and conditions, which also supports greener leisure and tourism, better local economies in terms of people spending their money locally, etc. And just generally, we get more inclusive societies with better access to jobs and cultural and social opportunities for people. So thank you very much. That was the end of my presentation, and I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you very much. It was a very, very interesting presentation. We loved your experience. And now I would like to give the mic to Yulia Popova, the head producer of Express Courier Service Samokat. Of course, you use not only scooters and bikes for your couriers, you also have couriers who simply walk from one place to another. So what can you offer for the city as a new way of mobility? Yeah, thank you very much. And please do not forget that the time is limited. We have only 6 minutes left until the end of our presentation. All right, thank you. I will switch on my presentation, so I will share my screen. We are Samokat company. We are online shop of products, and we deliver the products within 35 minutes, and this is how clients know us. So we try to become not only a part of the everyday life of our clients, but also to become a fully fledged part of the city infrastructure. we try to deliver products as fast as possible to satisfy the needs of the clients. We believe that that is the way not only to create a comfortable environment for people around us, giving them the most precious time, that is the time, but also we believe that we can change the view on the city infrastructure. We want to make the city environment safe and good. And we believe that such principles go hand in hand with Vision Zero. You spoke about it already today. We believe that prevention is important, and that will help us not only in terms of ethics, but also in terms of economy. And of course, economic indicators are important for every brand, including Samokat. And in Samokat, we have a large-scale program on courier adaptation. Within the framework of the training, they receive skills and knowledge about the road regulations, ethics. They pass various tests in a special mobile application. And now I would like to move on to our steps and solutions, which were undertaken by us. And in spring, we have introduced our service of care. So we do help our couriers. There's a hotline, or you can call them and you can get answers to your questions related to the traffic accidents, or you can ask for insurance support. And there are also groups on duty which work in the parts of the roads where the congestion is especially high. So in the future, we share the data we collect with the Center of Traffic Organization, and we believe that it can have positive impact on the development of infrastructure. Let me share one good example with you. We had a marathon of traffic rules. So couriers were engaged in that event, and it was a competition and a training at the same time. In addition to that, it's very important for us to organize an outreach campaign to talk to our clients. We always say that bike couriers are symbols of city infrastructure. It has truly become so, and the pandemic has demonstrated it brightly. So that is the role model of behavior on the roads. We try to do our best to meet our couriers dressed in pink at various events and in different parts of the city. We are ready to take proposals. We believe that we are present in 20 cities of Russia, and such communication with people can help us develop better. Samokat supports the creation of safe conditions for the movement of bike couriers and people who choose bikes as a form of temporary and permanent means of transportation. In addition to that, we organize trainings for couriers, regular testing, and high-quality system of motivation for following the rules and active position in terms of safety principle promotion. We are open for cooperation with a special organization. I already told you that Samokat is actively cooperating now with the Center of Traffic Organization. There's an interesting project which we will be implemented soon. In addition to that, we often have various initiatives and trainings. So from our side, we believe that it's important to prevent accidents on the roads, and we support Vision Zero ideology. It's important to engage couriers in various initiatives, city programs organized by the government of the city and different companies. And of course, it's important to share the data with the Center of Traffic Organization and other state authorities to make sure that you prevent accidents. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I loved your presentation. I liked the fact that you spoke about the fact that your couriers develop deliver the products really fast. And the next speaker is from Yandex Yeda and Yandex Lavka. Are you ready? Are you here? Yes, I'm here. All right. So Anna, I would like to hand over to you. What is your vision of zero mortality rate in the streets in Russia? Yeah, I'm happy to speak right after Yulia. Yulia already shared some exciting things with you. So let me start with the fact that it's necessary to say why business is talking about safety for bicycle drivers. So during the pandemics, courier services were highly demanded, and bikes became the safest actually means of transportation for deliveries. So couriers who work with Yandex Yeda and Yandex Lavka drive more than 10 million kilometers daily, and that is in Moscow only. This is the figure which really impresses us. So about 90% of couriers choose a bike as a means of transportation for deliveries because they can deliver more, and that means that they can have a higher income, and that means that clients can get their products faster. The expenditures of the cities for the development of bike infrastructure helps us. Couriers are not stuck in traffic jams. They drive fast, and bikes are safe means of transportation, and they don't create any noise. The biggest means of delivery now is a bike, so to make sure that the delivery is safe for couriers, for partners and people, we try to promote the culture of responsible behavior on the roads. I already told you that safety of everyone is important to us, so before the couriers deliver products, they have a training on safety rules. They are reminded that in residential areas it's necessary to drive slower, and it's important to switch on the lights if you are driving in nighttime. Sometimes couriers have unpleasant situations on the roads. All the emergencies and accidents are covered by insurances. The insurance amount is up to 2 million rubles. From our internal statistics and based on the website of the state authority, we can see that the number of accidents with bike couriers is not higher than around Russia. We try to follow the rules. We try to always search for new means of trainings. We have introduction training, then couriers are demonstrated video clips with traffic rules. We have various memos. There are also rules written on the walls in our hubs. We try to speak with the couriers about traffic rules in an interesting and exciting way. So when a courier is driving to you to bring you food, this person goes along the streets with high speed limit or intensive traffic. So based on the previous presentation and based on our personal experience, we understand that driving on such roads is not safe, and couriers have to use areas for pedestrians, like sidewalks, to do it. And bike drivers do not have specific lanes. Before we have a comprehensive infrastructure for bike drivers, the question of safety will still be relevant. There are difficulties with other participants of traffic because it's important not only to train the couriers, but also it's important to speak to other members of of the city, like, for example, taxi drivers, personal car drivers, pedestrians. They should also know that couriers exist and use bikes, and they should know how to use cities in a safe way. We believe that cities should be safe for everyone. Yandex Lavka and Yandex Yeda are services that have collected a lot of information about the movement of couriers, and now couriers are the main users of bike infrastructure in the city. We have information about congestion, about unsafe crossings, difficult situations where the roads cross the railroads. So I know how many kilometers couriers drive in Moscow. We have a lot of information about the city based on our experience. We have a lot of observations and statistics. We are ready to share that statistics with you. We do have all the necessary information, and I hope that all together we can create sustainable bike infrastructures in the city. Thank you very much. That was Anna Kuzmina, the head of safety department Yandex Yeda and Yandex Lavka. We have a lot of questions, but the time is limited, so I believe that we can discuss the questions at the next forum in 2022. Just a joke, of course, but it will be a very good driving force to join us in 2022. Thank you for being here. We had really unique guests with us who shared their experience, and it was highly exciting. I hope that we will be able to implement more activities in the nearest future to make the cities safer. That was Vision Zero session, and that is the end of it. Thank you very much.